Hello again and welcome to New York Talk. This is the Scouting Report where we're looking ahead and we have another of the promotion chasers. This time we trip up the M1 to the West Yorkshire team, Leeds United. We have Darren joining us from LS11 Podcast. How are you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm really good, mate. Really good indeed. Tired, but yeah, not bad.
Good to hear. Let's talk about Leeds this season. Obviously, we last played in November time. It was that 1-1 draw on Friday night. How have things been for Leeds since then? It seems like it's just continued sort of the upward trajectory since the sort of quiet start of the season.
Yeah, it was. It was a really quiet start to the season, mainly because, Leeds were in a bit of turmoil during the summer, as when we were last talking, with the takeover that took so damn long to happen and players not wanting to be at the club. And with the transfer window going into the first month of the season, still didn't know which players were going to be with. And so Leeds sort of started a bit on the back foot, I think, really. And it took them about 4 or 5 weeks to really start and get going, really. But you look at what's been happening, certainly in the last sort of like couple of months, and I think they're really, really sort of shown exactly what they're like in this league now. And, obviously you look at the league and you see Leicester look home and host. They're just absolutely flying at the moment. Ipswich seem to just be tailing off. They had an amazing start to the season, but that just seems to be, they might pull it back. You never know. Southampton seem to be the ones that are really, really putting up. They've done like club record wins, but Leeds as well. It makes for a very, very exciting end to the season for, if you're a neutral, because I think it is I think it's between Southampton and Leeds for that second spot. And the way Leeds are going, certainly even if you look at this calendar year, Leeds are unbeaten in the league. I think they've won every game in this calendar year in the league, and I don't think they've ever done that in their history, or something like it's like since medieval times. It's something quite it's quite unnerving because, as talking to a lot of Leeds fans, this is not something that happens. So they seem to be enjoying themselves at the moment.
I know it's looking quite far ahead, but the last game of the season, I think I'm right in saying, is Leeds against Southampton.
Yeah.
That could be just the blockbuster championship regular games, couldn't it?
I mean, could you imagine? Because what is it at the moment? Southampton are a point ahead of us with a game in hand. So, I mean, it's not out of the realms of possibility that promotion could be all on that last game if they go along pretty much bubbling against each other over the course of the, there's a lot of football to be played, but who knows? I mean, God, that would be good, wouldn't it? If it all came down to that final game. I'm not sure anybody's nerves could cope with it, really.
Sky would be all over that. They'd be loving that.
Oh my God. Yeah. They'd love that. Yeah.
Talking about January transfer window, what kind of window was it? I mean, you've got a great squad as it is. How was the window been?
Quiet, really. I mean, he pretty much sort of said like they weren't going to do huge amounts of business. And who did they bring in? They brought in one player, was it from Burnley, Connor Roberts, I think, another Welshman. The Welsh contingent now at Leeds United. That's the thing everybody's talking about, I think, really, because you got Dan James, you got Joe Rodon from Spurs. We've got who else is in there now? Ampadu, of course. And now Connor Roberts. So the Welsh contingent is amazing. But that was the only real one of note. There's a few players that have gone out elsewhere, but people coming in. No, he didn't. And I don't think it was going to be a massive window. And I think it's pretty much the same for most clubs. They've not really done. If you look across even the Premier League, no one's really done any business. Everybody's just scared, aren't they, about FFP, I think, more than anything else. But I think he was pretty happy with his squad, and you can sort of understand it. I think they've recruited really, really well leading up to it. So I don't think there was that much. They wanted something in at right back. They've got that with Connor Roberts, but Archie Gray was doing a pretty good job sort of covering there. Luke Ayling went off on loan to Middlesbrough. And everybody loves Luke Ayling, so that was a fond farewell. He wasn't getting game time at Leeds. He's out of contract at the end of this year anyway, so it was like a fond farewell to Luke Ayling. But yeah, I think I don't think anybody was really that bothered that they weren't doing too much business, because I think they sort of see what they've got, and it's like, well, it ain't broke. You don't need to do too much to it, really.
No, that's fair. Talking about home form, unbeaten at home for this season, which obviously is in any division, that's a great record to have. Is there a reason for that, do you think? Why is Ellen Road sort of such a fortress this season?
I suppose most teams want that, don't they? Most teams want to make their home ground a fortress, and I think it's more difficult than people sort of realise. I can't put my finger on how Leeds have done it. I think, Farke's he plays an exciting brand of football. It's like really fast attacking. It's exciting to watch, and I think it just seems to be clicking. And I know you hear this about other teams and that, but it does just seem to be clicking at the moment with a lot of players, and just put him. And we had an injury to one of our defenders, Stroik, and he had been sort of fantastic for a long time during the season. But then they've put a defensive pairing of Ampadu. Ampadu's gone from midfield into central defence alongside Joe Rodon. And it's like they've been playing like that for decades. It's almost they're playing players in the right position. People are playing out of their skin. Bamford's come back and seems to be scoring goals again, which is really nice to see, because he had a bit of a torrid time for about a year and a half, 18 months really. With sort of injuries and then not scoring, but he's a real confidence player. But things are just clicking, I think, really. So it's why it's now they're unbeaten at home in the league. I mean, I suppose that's what all teams want to come along and try and upset that, I suppose, now.
Yeah, absolutely. We're taking back to the game, obviously, at New York Stadium. It felt like a game that, for half an hour, it almost felt like it was too easy for Leeds. The goal was a good goal. And it just seemed like they were cruising, and then we picked up a goal just before half time and then picked up a bit of momentum. Is there an issue with Leeds in sort of games where teams muddy the game like we do, or was that just one of those nights where it just didn't quite click?
Do you know what? I think you sort of hit the nail on the head there, I think, because there's been a few games, certainly over the last couple of months, where those sort of things have happened, where and I'm trying to think of ones. Realistically, in the FA Cup fourth round, where obviously they've just been down to Plymouth and beaten them 4-1, but at home it was 1-1, and the same sort of thing happened there. Boxing Day against Preston, similar. There's Leeds have got that in them. Then also at the end of that last year, the West Brom game, West Brom beaten at Leeds by 1-0. So Leeds have got it definitely in them. And I think that Rotherham game's a good one to look at, because maybe they just thought, this is going to be too easy, and just took their foot off the gas. I'd imagine they've sort of learnt from that over the last month. And decided that they can't actually do anything like that anymore. And I think the performances have been a lot better, definitely. But there's always that chance, isn't there? There's always that chance. And certainly the FA Cup against Plymouth sort of brought those memories back again. But then obviously they've gone down to Plymouth. I mean, they've got a horrendous, apart from this game against Rotherham, the next sort of 4 or 5 games are all down in the bloody West Country. They're we've got Plymouth again, I think, Swansea. It's all over the shop. So there's a lot of travelling. So the next 3-4 weeks are absolutely massive, I think, for however they're going to end up at the end of the season. Yeah.
Will there be a change? Obviously, it seems you've got a pretty settled side, to be honest with you, barring FA Cup rotation. Will it be a similar kind of team that we saw again at New York Stadium? Same kind of setup, same attacking intent, I assume.
Yeah, I think so. He's been very good, I think. I mean, he did change it up a bit for the FA Cup game. He rested a fair few players, but they did seem to come on in the second half. But you'll see, I think he seems to be more erring on the side of Bamford rather than Pirro at the moment in the league. So I think you'll probably stick with that. I think you could look at the starting lineup from the game down at Bristol City, and it will be pretty much that team. I think with Bamford playing obviously as striker, Somerville, Ruta, Nonto. It's a fantastic front four that you've got there, and Ruta just seems to be carving the league up, I think, and doing it with a smile on his face. And someone that's getting a lot of plaudits in Leeds circles and sort of going underneath the radar is Gruev. Or Groove, I think I heard him called on 5 Live last night. I'm wondering if that's actually how you call him now. But he just seems... He was a pretty unknown factor in the Leeds team, but he's been getting a chance in the last 5-6 weeks. My God, he is showing to be an absolutely fantastic player. Great tackler, great passing ability, and his stats are insane. But I would imagine you look at Gruev and Kamara in midfield, and then depending on sort of like fitness, I'm not sure if Dan James is back yet or not, but I would imagine Ampadu, Rodon, Archie Gray. Maybe we'll see Connor Roberts coming in, and maybe Archie Gray going back into midfield, and possibly Firpo. Firpo's got a bit better recently, so you could pretty much nail the starting 11, I would say.
Let's go for a prediction then. It should be an easy afternoon, shouldn't it, really, for Leeds?
Yeah, I'm not well known for my score predictions. In fact, people on my podcast always say, I don't know why Darren bothers doing score predictions. It's always stupid, because I just come up with ridiculous ones. I think Rotherham will take the lead, and then Leeds will score 10.
Okay.
10-1. I'll go 10-1.
You know what? That wouldn't be that surprise.
I'm never good at these things, so you may as well just come up with ridiculous ones, I always think.
Why not? Thank you, Darren. We'll put the links to the LS11 in our show notes. So if anyone wants to go check out the Leeds stuff, please do so on Darren's channel. Thank you very much for coming on. Thank you all for being watching tonight. Make sure you subscribe to our channel and like the video. And as always, up.